The Ancients World. Chapter 141, Chasing Real Power 2. I don't know how high of a level Sally is. NPCs are capable of leveling up and tiering up. Their process is just different than players. My name is Slayer Zirn, but you can just call me Zirn. I hold out my right hand and she shakes it. I start back on my meal and down the orange juice. I have a question for you, Sally, and I hope you'll listen. She looks at me kind of confused, but she nods her head. Would you like to accompany me on my journey? I'm heading to the Holy City and then Belvia. I could use someone to travel with since my sister isn't going to be traveling with me anymore. She looks at me like I just asked her something very private. I keep a straight face and try to be convincing to help her agree to come with me. This whole situation is weird, but I need a friend and she seems stuck in this place. How do I know I can trust you, Zirn? This is all very suspicious to me. You don't ask a girl you just met to go on an adventure with you. Many would suspect you are a criminal. She has the correct idea and is doing a good job at keeping herself safe. I finish my food and put the silverware down. You can't trust me yet, Sally. If you do want to get out of this town, meet me at the western gates in an hour. I still have one stop left to make. I stand up and lay down a gold piece as a tip. I walk out of the inn and make my way to my last stop before I leave town. Despite the things happening in Ancients World, much of it hasn't stopped economy in smaller towns and cities. So I can probably find it at the herbalist's shop. I make my way to the commercial district and enter the herbalist shop. An old lady is at the counter helping any customers that come in. Hello, young man. How can this old raisin help you with what you need? A nice old lady. I make an approach to the counter with a smile and look at her more closely. She is probably in her 90s by now. You know it's not polite to stare at senior citizens. She isn't actually mad, just a light-hearted reprimand. I lay down 10 gold pieces since what I need is an expensive thing. I need a drop of moonlight from a freshly cut moonlight flower. She gives me a hard look. She must not expect me to know what I'm talking about. If you don't have it, that is completely okay. I know how rare it is. Moonlight drops come from special flowers that only bloom at night during the turn of the season. It might be too early yet to see if she has any. She pushes the gold back to me and shakes her head. I'm sorry, kid, but the military is taking this year's harvests for the war. I'd normally have a few by now, but the only place with any would be Capital City's own supplies and the Holy City. That's surprisingly convenient. It's actually too convenient. The ingredient I need for my idea will be in the place I'm going. That sounds too good to be true. I take the gold back and say my thanks to the old lady. I exit the store and make my way to the western gate. It hasn't been an hour yet, but Sally is already there in cheap leather armor and a regular iron sword. She sees me and gives a little wave. I wave back as I approach. I'm glad you showed. I can tell by your gear that you went for the cheapest options. We'll hit some dungeons before we head into the Holy City to get you better gear. Mind telling me what level you are? She looks at me with apprehension. I fold my arms waiting for an answer. I'm level 70 tier 1. I have a basic swordsman class 2. If you don't want me to come along, it's fine. She looks ready to quit. She waits at my silence and looks up at me. I give her a grin that conveys understanding. Don't worry about that, Sally. It's going to be a blast. I'm more than strong enough to help you get better. I want to test something too. Before we all got stuck here, there was a level restriction before you could have companions. I want to see if that is still in place. I pull up my player menu and Sally looks at me weird since she can't see it. I go to the section to recruit a companion and Sally is there. I click on her name and it sends an invite. So that is a function that's also changed about Ancients World. She gives me a shocked look. You're a player. I've only met a few when they came into the inn before they all disappeared. She seems excited. She must know about players and their insane appetite to grow stronger. I have a feeling I'm going to be good friends with this girl. She accepts the invite and I can now see a new health bar below mine that says Sally LVL.70. I smile at her and nod for her to follow me. We exit the gates and start walking the road. Eventually we make it to a forest that is covered nicely. Alright Sally. What I'm about to share with you can never be told to another person, alright? She stops as I stop and she looks at me with slight fear. She still doesn't know me. I equip the Son of Archangel Michael title. I want you to inspect me. She does just that as I get the notification of her inspection. Her face morphs between many different expressions. I toggle my wings on for good measure and they appear out of my back and cover a large area and give off an intimidating yet beautiful look. I'm the son everyone is looking for. So do you think you can trust me now? She nods her head in a very slow motion, looking at me in absolute shock. I can only guess what it's like from her perspective. A stranger walking into your inn, then talking to you a little bit. Only to find out he is the one everyone is searching for. She walks up and rubs her fingers through my wings and I can feel it. Still getting used to the sensations that come with them. She begins to start tearing up and she pulls away. Why would you choose me? Her voice is shaking so much it's sad. She has been hurt and tormented most of her life. Being a half-breed will do that to you. Discrimination against such things cause certain problems that I can't relate to. She turns her face to me, waiting for me to answer. You remind me of someone that's important to me. Besides, you made me laugh. I don't get many opportunities to laugh the way I did when you made fun of my bad smell. I'd like to have an honest person traveling with me. If you are still okay with coming along, I won't mind a friend. She dries her tears and gives a small smile. She gives me an extravagant bow in a show of respect. I'll let it slide this one time. I hope she can handle fast flight better than Haley could. Does that mean I have to ride on your back? I can see the shyness and bashful look. If I wasn't so focused on getting stronger, I'd have a crush. She is what you want in a woman, but I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I turn around and get down on my knees. Hop on, Sally. I'll be going full speed to get us there faster. I hope you can handle 430 miles per hour. She climbs onto my back and holds on tight. I flex my wings and launch off the ground fast. Since she is an NPC in a much higher level than Haley, she should be able to handle it. She keeps her legs wrap around me, but lets go with her arms. She sticks them out, enjoying the freeing feeling coming from such an action. This is the best feeling in the world. She seems excited. I can see why she would question why she was chosen. She made a good impression on me. Sometimes that's all you need to do to change your life. Now I need to think about the issue with her level and armor. In actuality, leveling her up won't be an issue. It's getting her better gear and a class. I know just where I can get both of those. A legacy class is located near the location where the fairy's new kingdom is. The only way you can get the legacy class is if you already have a class above legacy. It's called the Frost's Wrath. It's a special hybrid class that lets you use unique frost and ice magic while being a powerful swordsman. The reason it's only a legacy rating is because you need to already have a legacy or higher wielder in your party. I don't know how to complete the puzzle to get to it, all I know is that there is a puzzle. The discovery of this class was an accident too. We are heading to the fairy's new kingdom first, Sally. There is a dungeon there that has everything you'll need to get stronger. How many times have you changed your class already? I don't know how many times an NPC can change classes, but players can only do it 3 times. She brings her hands back down and places them in the little space between my wings. I've never changed my class before. Why are you asking about this? She is in for a surprise. I don't plan on doing all the work for her to get stronger. Else it would have no value to her. Once I get her the class and gear, it's up to her to get stronger. I don't really have a need for armor anymore. My wings are stronger than any known armor. Any I know of anyways. I have a feeling she is going to be a great teammate. Chapter 142, Chasing Real Power 3. Sally should know what we are going after so she can mentally prepare herself. It won't be an easy fight. We are going to get you a legacy class. If you are to be my teammate, you are going to have to be stronger than you are now. Levels are good and all, but the ceiling of a person's potential is determined by their class. Besides, I have something I want to check out in the Fairy Kingdom. Now that I'm level 81, I can visit the Fairy Kingdom I helped save. The people there won't know my identity, but the holy willow tree will remember me. I still have its amazing healing perk. That's probably what saved me when I was fighting those hordes of monsters. Thank you so much, Zirn. She suddenly hugs me. I let her get it out of her system and she pulls away. I've never seen the Fairy Kingdom. I can't wait to see its rumored beauty. I'm looking forward to it too. It's been a long time since I've thought about the fairies. In a way, they were in the same situation as the dryads. I have a relationship with the fairies. So we should be welcomed without any problems. I doubt any know my actual identity, but the holy willow tree will make our time there easy. In their kingdom, the highest authority is the holy willow tree. It's probably kept my secret, and that's a good thing. I might have a hard time getting to see it, but that isn't going to be too much of a problem. She is being quiet now, and that's all right with me. Based off my knowledge of the areas, the new fairies kingdom has set up shop in the country of Salamander. That's closer than the holy city, which is nice. I adjust course and start heading southwest. If I'm remembering right, this is the right direction. It's easier since the map has a compass with it and there is a marker on it showing where the holy city is. The country of Salamander is to the southwest of where I'm at, based of what I can see on the map. I should expect some sort of trouble once I reach the holy city after I'm done getting Sally all powered up. What are we doing in the holy city after we finish in the fairies' new kingdom? She likes asking a lot of questions, but we are going to be traveling together till I'm done in Belvia at least. She is going to be a big help in my Divine Mana Aura quest. With her and Fenrir helping, my chances of getting that aura are much higher. I just need to always remember she isn't a player. If she dies, she isn't coming back. So I'll be extra cautious with anything dangerous that could prove to be too much for her. I'm doing for my Mana Aura. You should already have yours since you are over level 50 and tier 1. What was your mission for your Mana Aura? She is level 70 tier 1, and that means she has a Mana Aura now. If she had the basic swordsman class, then that means she has a low grade 1. She stays silent for a second and then gives me an unexpected answer. I haven't done it yet. I have been too afraid since it's in a different place, not located near Tulak. This is actually great. Since she hasn't completed it yet, it can be changed in quality once her class upgrades. That was a mechanic that players found out they can do once certain NPCs eventually warmed up to us. It works for both NPCs and players. It's safe to say that she is going to be one of the strongest elves alive after we are done. That's great, Sally. We can get you a better one once your class upgrades. This way you will be stronger than pretty much any elf alive. In truth, the Frost's Wrath should be a legendary class, but its incredibly hard prerequisite lowers its quality to legacy. I know it's going to be complicated to get, but I have no doubt we can do it if we work together to solve the puzzles. Sally isn't an idiot, and neither am I. The forum post about the class said that there is a puzzle to solve, but never gave the solution. I know all the steps except that part. Can I ask you something, Zirn? I nod my head and she takes a moment of silence. Should I take vengeance for my mother and against the Elf Kingdom for what they did to us? I think about it every day, and you are helping me make it a possibility. I don't know. Not in the sense of a bad idea, but in the sense of literally I don't know. It's not my responsibility to make her decisions for her. If she wants vengeance, then that's hers alone to decide. I want mine against that man, but it's different for everyone. That's your own choice, Sally. You can do whatever you want with your power once you have it. That's the beauty of having free will. That is the best answer I can give her. With my limited understanding of women, I don't know if it's the right choice. She stays silent at my answer. Having a heart full of vengeance is something I understand, but it's my decision to torture that man if I ever find him. Others make different choices based off what they have been through, some forgive and forget. Others hurt the person beyond reason, and that's fine in my opinion. If that is what it takes to even the score with someone who destroyed your life, then enjoy and relish in it as much as you want. While many argue it's bad for mental health, it's not an exclusive problem. Take the players for example. Some are kind and helpful and others are selfish and despicable. If I do decide to take revenge, will you help me? I know it's a lot to ask, but they deserve what they get and I can't do it on my own. So please just think about it, alright? I don't know the elves personally, but the horrible reputation they have precedes them. The billions of entities in Ancient's world, and the worst to deal with are the elves. All full and pure-blooded elves are not worth the time investing in. I'm not one for committing genocide either. I'll give it some thought, but at this point my answer would be no. If I was given a personal reason to hate them, then it would be an easy choice. Players rarely went into the country of the elves simply because they killed any players that got close. They have one of the most advanced civilizations in Ancient's world, and they are very secretive about their magic capabilities. We should focus on getting you stronger before you start to make plans against the entire elven race. When you attack one pureblood, you attack all of them. That's how their society works. They banish mixed bloods and retaliate with violence if anyone objects. So I'm not planning on helping you at the moment. She stays silent at my words. I don't think it's rude to ask me this. She is truly desperate for help in getting revenge. I've been there, and I'm sure I'll be there again. Thanks for helping me, Zirn. I'm sorry to have asked you such a thing. I completely understand not wanting to fight against the elves. I'm thankful she understands. Most don't and pester until they get what they want. Out of all the people I could have selected to come with me, it's funny I found someone who is similar to me. I look out ahead and see the vast distances and mountains ahead of us. How old are you anyways, Sally? I know elves have longer lifespans and retain their youth. Is it the same for half-breeds? She is being quiet, and it comes to my attention that might have been a bad question. My mom always said never ask women certain things. One of them is age. For some reason they are sensitive about it. I don't really know why either. Everyone gets old, it's a part of life. Not anymore though. The players have de-aged and all of the older people are back in their mid-20s. I'm sure many women and men were happy about that, but no one knows if it's permanent. I'm 103 years old. How old are you? She doesn't look a day over 20. Another reason why the elves think themselves superior. She is one of the oldest people I've met. Wilmer and others I've met on my journeys are very old. I'm approaching 20 years of age, but I don't know anymore. We can't keep track of time anymore. Not in terms of Earth. So in truth I'm between 19 and 20. I'm somewhere between 19 and 20. I'm sorry I can't give you a specific answer. When I do find out, I'll let you know. For all I know, I'll look like this forever. Having angelic blood and powers is sure to have other effects. Once I gain enough strength, I might end up getting immortality. We have a few hours to go, so might as well get to know her better. Chapter 143, Chasing Real Power 4. Sally has been through a lot in her time. She isn't someone who's willing to share her stories so fast. Trying to find out about her is going to be more difficult because she is guarded. So what was your early childhood like, Sally? If you aren't comfortable talking about it, that's fine. I wouldn't want to talk about anything if I had a hard life like yours. She stays quiet at my words. She is probably thinking of ways to avoid conversations like this. I feel her hands twitch on my back. Might be reliving a memory that she wants to forget. Sometimes they can come rushing back with just a mention of them. I was thrown into slavery after I was old enough to walk and talk. I was abused and beaten every day. I'm unfit for marriage now too. Ancient's world has traditions. One of those being that if a man or woman has their virginity forcefully taken, then they are pronounced no longer pure. It's really fucked up in my opinion, but that's the lore of this world. It's a different story if it's not taken. It's really disturbing that things like this happen in this world. I should tell her that I won't think any less of her for what she has been through. It can help people if you tell them that. I want you to know that I don't think any less of you for what happened to you. You were powerless and weak, so you couldn't do anything to stop it. You had no one to protect you from such things. She needs to know that it's safe with me. That I'm not someone to be scared of. She stays quiet at my words and I just let her do what she needs to do. Listening to people's problems can really help their mentalities. It's good to let them know they aren't alone. Thanks for saying so, Zirn. If you want me to continue, then I'm okay with it. I can tell she is not comfortable continuing, so I'm not going to make her. I shake my head no, and I feel her slightly untense. Telling me what she did must have taken a lot of courage and trust. She can tell me more when she is ready. Having a life that hard as your very first memories must be nightmare-inducing. I can only be there if she needs someone. I can't understand what she went through, so I can't really offer any great help. I don't know what it's like to be sexually abused, so just being there when she is ready to talk is my best option. At least I think. I'm not very good with women, I only know what I've learned from my mom and dad. Hopefully what I'm doing is enough. Since she shared something with me, I should share something with her. She was brave enough to tell me something so personal, so I should try and have the same courage. I want to tell you something about me, Sally. You deserve to hear something about me after sharing something so personal. She stays quiet, waiting for me to talk. At one point in time I had lost everything. My mother, my sister, and any future I had. I took extreme measures to change all that and I succeeded. They are back and I have fixed my life. She hasn't said anything yet. I'm not done yet, this isn't enough information about me. Everything that's happened since the players have arrived is mostly my fault. The war. The deaths in it, and the woman suffering at the hands of the monsters. My choices to save my family and future have come at a huge cost, and I intend to rectify anything that has happened. This is all I can tell her right now. If I do end up telling her the whole truth, then it needs to be when I know I can fully trust her to keep it. Just because I'm half angel here doesn't mean that I'm perfect. Hearing this from me might help her trust me more too. It does feel good to share a modicum of the truth with someone. Thank you for sharing something so personal, Zirn. I really appreciate it. I'm glad she does. At least she says she does. I don't know what goes on in someone's head and heart. Thinking that I could is extremely arrogant and very cruel. I think this is a good start to our party. She is going to need some time to come out of her shell, and that's fine. I'm going to need time too. So the only thing to do in the meantime is focus on getting her stronger. There are many methods to do that, and one is farming monsters in certain places. Once she has that legacy class, it's going to be easy for her to get stronger. We are going to farm monsters after the Holy City for your legacy class. That way you can get strong and familiar with your new skills. This is the best option I can think of. Once we are done getting her class, the next stop is my Mana Aura quest. She'll level up tons helping with such a difficult quest. Once my Mana Aura quest is done, I'll help her with hers. She'll get a new and better quality one, but it's going to be difficult. What quality is your Mana Aura, Zirn? As the son of an archangel, I think it would be powerful. She is right in thinking that. Once I have it and get better at controlling it, my health will pass the millions. Even having 1% control of a divine Mana Aura will give me more health than I ever had in my old future. My Mana Aura is divine in quality. It's an extremely difficult quest that I need help on. I already have someone who is going to be helping me, with you that makes 2. So the odds of me completing the quest are much better than before. I can't see her face, but I can tell that she is giving me a stupid look. She must be thinking I'm out of my mind if I'm going after a divine Mana Aura. The reality of the situation is actually getting better. How am I supposed to help you get a divine mana aura? That's way out of my capabilities. Who are you even getting help from other than me? 'Cause we are going to need someone powerful to help us. She is right to be worried. I would be too if I was in her situation. Sally is someone I just picked up to go on this journey with me. Telling her the extremely difficult quests I have is sure to be overwhelming. Telling her that we'll have Fenrir's help will make it much easier on her mind. I have a divine quality item that is going to make the mission for my mana aura easier. It's a horn I can blow into and Fenrir will come to my aid. He'll be helping us on this mission. I feel her go very rigid and stiff. The stories of Fenrir are as old as history. The legends surrounding his powers are true. I might even run into him in the fairy kingdom. I can just ask him if he is there, if not I'll just use the horn for when I need him. She is still very stiff and hasn't said anything. You know Fenrir? I nod my head and I hear her groan. I shouldn't be surprised, should I? You probably know a lot of powerful people and creatures. Is he as scary looking as the rumors say he is? He is very intimidating. The runic tattoos and his seemingly endless power is enough to put fear into anyone. The only beings that can fight him and defeat him are other deities of high authority. I nod my head again, confirming her question. When I lifted the curse on the holy willow tree, I inadvertently freed him too. He has a connection to the tree. So whatever happens to the tree happens to Fenrir. After I revived the tree, Fenrir soon found me. Only other divine level beings can sense each other. I tried to run, but he was too fast. I was running for no reason though. Once he explained the situation, I knew he wasn't after me to kill me. That's how I got the horn to summon him. She releases a deep sigh and I can hear her mumbling something. She must think I'm really lucky or something. Everyone suffers something great before they gain something even greater. That's what I think anyways. Someone once said that to all great things in life that are worthwhile usually take great suffering to reach. I think this quote fits many people right now in Ancient's world. How long do you think it'll be till we get to the fairy kingdom Zirn? It should only be a couple hours. We continue flying for that time and now it's early afternoon. I can see the giant tree in the distance. I bring us down fast and land. She screams just like my sister did. I let her off and she stumbles a bit. We have to walk from here. It'll take about 30 minutes to get there. I wonder how much it's developed. She just stays silent, trying to shake off the dizzy feeling of the fast dive. We are getting closer to what she needs. Chapter 144, Chasing Real Power V. The convenience of flying is amazing. Now it's time to walk the rest of the way. I don't sense Fenrir anywhere nearby. I was looking forward to the chance to talk to him. Too bad he isn't here. We start walking through the forest and as we do I almost forget to toggle my wings off. I do so and they disappear into my back. Where do they go when you do that? Is it some magic that allows you to hide them? I suddenly hear a question being asked. I look over to Sally, seeing her confused face. I don't know how they disappear and reappear like that, in all honesty. So I can't give her an answer. I don't know. It's just something I know how to do. It's like breathing and blinking my eyes. I don't have to think about it consciously. All I do is think of them going away and they disappear. Turning them on and off is how the system handles it. I can still feel that it's under my control though, like I could activate them without the system. I'm not in the mood to test that out though. Her armor and weapon are very basic. I wonder if she has any idea how to wield that sword. Do you know how to fight, Sally? If you need to learn some stuff or don't know much, I'd like to know now so I can help you develop some things that will be very useful. She stops walking, and I turn around to see why she did. She gives me a determined stare and draws her sword. I guess she wants to show me instead of telling me. I can't use the witness in this spar, or she'll die. Even keeping it in its sheath is risky. I don't want to kill her accidentally. I respond to her actions and activate my wings once again. She gives me a weird look. Won't they get damaged if you use them for fighting? I shake my head no and indicate for her to bring it. She looks a little insulted and charges at me. I get my wings in front of me, and the tip of her blade connects. I suffer no damage, and the feeling of the blade tip is completely negated. I hear her groan and jump back. I pull my wings back, and she gives me a slight frown. She jumps in for more attacks, but my wings shut them all down. What the hell are your wings made of? It's like I'm trying to cut through diamond with a dull butter knife. She is a way better combatant than I thought she was. I bet this is one reason she was able to escape from illegal slavery. She eventually tires herself out and takes a knee. She sticks her blade in the ground and leans against it. I'm impressed, Sally. You are very talented when it comes to fighting. I can guess how you got so good at it, so I won't ask. In the meantime, I'd like to see how good you are at defending. I won't be using my sword cause it would kill you. My wings can too, but I'll keep it at your speed level and give me your best movement. She stands up after a couple more breaths and gets into a stance. She leaps forward and I make sure I don't move too fast. She dodges and parries at an excellent level. She has a unique defense form using my weight against me. It must be from fighting more vigorous opponents. After a couple of minutes, she falters, and I stop just before landing a strike. She looks up at me with a smile. I reach out my hand and smile at her back. She takes my hand, and I help her up. I toggle my wings off. She has way more potential than I originally thought. Not only does she have a well-developed fighting style, but she also has a brilliant defense. The Frost's Wrath will be a perfect fit for her. You have exceeded my expectations, Sally. You are better than you have led me to believe. Quite an impressive tactic if I have anything to say. She has been alive for 103 years. She has probably been free for more than 70. All that time to develop is sure to show. In the end, I wouldn't put it past her actually taking revenge on the ones that ruined her life and her mother's. She will get a taste of real power and might right all the wrongs that happened in her life. I'm fine with her taking revenge. She can do whatever she wants when she gets her power. I'm glad you think so, Zirn. I've worked hard in my free time whenever I get it. Secretly training when I was captive led me to trust my sword more than any other person. Once I was free, I promised that I'd have my best possible life. I as well trust my own power and weapons more than anyone else. Even including my family. She will be a mighty warrior soon. Well, Sally, you have everything you need except a good class and items. Once you have those, you can pretty much do whatever you want. I should warn you, though, don't pick fights you can't win. I suffered from that problem a long time ago, and it led down a dark path. It's part of the reason my old future went to shit. Because I thought I was the shit. Being humbled really helped me open my eyes. I can help her not make that mistake. However, that's only if she wants it. She said it herself. She only trusts her sword more than any person. Will you teach me how to fight? I know that if we were to have fought each other seriously, you would have killed me instantly. So she wants a mentor that can teach her where she has faults. I can teach her how to fight, but how much she grows is determined by how determined she is. I don't doubt she'll be strong, but I won't be easy on her. The lessons I learned in my old future caused me a lot of pain. When there is no one to teach you like I didn't, the only way you can grow is through failure. That leads to many setbacks and failings, some you can't recover from as a player. I can help you, Sally, but how much you learn depends on you. I can teach you all I know, but it can just end up going through one ear and out the other. Worse, you won't be able to handle it. I highly doubt either of those is true. I want to see how determined she is. She wouldn't have come so far in life just to quit at times like these. I watch her face morph into determination and preparation. I can handle anything you throw at me, Zirn. I'm not going to be a weak woman. I want to be able to kill those who threaten me and defend the ones I care about. I don't want to spend my life being a lesser version of something more. That's quite a lot of determination. She will do fine, so that means I can make the training as hard as I want. I'll start teaching her what I know once we get her the legacy class near the fairy kingdom. I don't want to start teaching her if she doesn't have any power to work with. Looks like we have another goal to add, don't we? I'll start teaching you after you acquire the Frost's Wrath, that way, you can use the powerful skills of the class. You're going to be a fearsome warrior after I teach you about fighting. She nods her head and smiles in satisfaction. I've never been one to teach, but it could prove to help her. The stronger she is, the more likely we will succeed at getting my divine mana aura. Let's keep moving, Sally. This little stop has proved to be a great distraction and very entertaining. The fairy kingdom is less than 20 minutes away. I'd like to see the kingdom I helped bring back. I turn towards the giant tree in the distance and begin walking. I hear her fall into a rhythm behind me. She starts to hum some melody, but I sink into my mind to think. Sally has a lot of potential. However, her heart is filled with grief and vengeance. It could be counterintuitive to her training. I can't change her mind and heart, but if it proves to change her drastically, I'll step in. Power going to the head is a nasty thing and one I can relate to. Some of my power has gone to my head, and I have to remind myself every day that I'm still fragile compared to the strongest out there. Only time will tell the answer to this question. Chapter 145, The Frost's Wrath I. We are coming into view of the walls of the giant city. Incredibly, something like this can show up out of nowhere. It's not something I thought I'd see so soon. My plans to come here have been put ahead so Sally can get a legacy class. The type of power that will be at her fingertips is sure to help her gain confidence and strength. Do you know anything about the Fair's Kingdom? Despite me bringing them back, I don't know much about them. Sally shakes her head no. I should have expected that. Most of the fairies in the Fairy Kingdom won't know who I am. The holy willow tree probably never told a single individual my true identity. So I can count on getting through the gate pretty easily. The city probably has multiple entrances, but nothing will help with the dungeon. This place wasn't here in the future. So take away the city, and I know the exact location of the dungeon. I want to get some important information about the territory, though. The terrain is still unfamiliar to me. In truth, there is no reason to go into the city. I can take us to the dungeon near the city. I doubt it's been discovered yet since it's so well hidden. I want to visit the holy willow tree since I'm here. It shouldn't be too hard to get access to it. We make our way to the gate and wait in the line of NPCs. It takes around 10 minutes till we make it into the city. It's pretty big too. I'd say it's around the same size as a capital city, if not a little bigger. I look at the shops and see the unique designs that come with this special location. Many of the buildings are made of big hollowed-out mushrooms. I wonder what type of things they sell here. Can I venture around while you visit the tree? It's not like it wants to see me too. I wave my hand, giving permission, and she runs off in another direction. Since she is in my party, I know her location constantly. So it's going to be easy to find her once I'm done. I slowly make my way to the tree, and I can feel some power wash over me as I get closer. It's very familiar to what I felt when I first revived it. I can even sense a very slight presence of Fenrir's power in the feeling. The connection between the three of us is more present than I realized. After walking for 15 minutes, I see a vast wall surrounds the tree's base. The single entrance to the area is being guarded by very powerful NPCs. I have to be very careful with my words if I want to meet with the tree from here on out. As I get closer to the guards, I notice they aren't actual fairies. There are autonomous wooden soldiers. I walk up to the gate, and they push it open for me. We have felt you approaching us for a few hours now, son of Michael. They both speak at the same time in the same voice. I give them a head tilt and a smile. It's good to see you again. They speak again, and I nod in response. Sally is probably off having fun right now, so that means I have some time to visit the tree before we leave. I walk through the gate and look for a way into the tree's chamber. I walk around for a while, and I eventually come across it. I walk up to the door and knock on it out of respect. I hear the light clicking of heels, and the door opens. A beautiful white-haired fairy answers the door. Her wings have a very ornate black and white design. I back up a little and give a slight bow. Greetings, ma'am. I was hoping to have an audience with the tree. She gives me a stupid look and almost calls the guards. I see the look on her face morph through many different expressions. She must be getting an earful from the tree right now. She has to be the priestess and the second highest power in the fairy kingdom. She stands aside in silence and lets me through. I'm not going to waste time talking and getting to know her. I only have so much time to burn. I make my way to the chamber, and she leaves me alone in the massive area. It looks just like the dungeon from when I freed it. Except for this time, it's pure and clean. I look towards the birthing place for fairies and see the giant wooden stalactite hanging over it. It's nice to see this place alive and bustling. I'm just stopping by, saying hello, and checking out the new kingdom. I have a dungeon nearby that I'm doing with a friend. I start talking first since I know it can hear me. I watch a wooden man be formed out of the ground and stand up a little bit across from me. It's good to see you, Zirn. Your actions in helping me have led to this amazing new city. It's been thousands of years since so many fairies have been alive at a single moment in time. What is this dungeon you speak of? Perhaps I can lend you some help. It wouldn't know the answer to the puzzle since this isn't its original territory. It probably does know some valuable things about the area, though. I don't want to take Sally through any deadly monster ground, so asking about those seems like a good idea. You can't help me with the dungeon. You can help me with the areas around here, though. How is the monster population about 4 miles north of the city from here? I'm traveling with a weaker person, and I don't want her at any unnecessary risk. The wooden puppet looks at me with wisdom beyond my years. Since the tree has been here, it probably knows what I'm talking about. I know the place, Zirn. I have forbidden any fairies from approaching the area. I can only guess why you would want to go to such a dangerous place. I'll give you some advice. It's freezing in that dungeon. If you don't know what you're doing, you'll end up getting her killed. He knows more about this than I thought. I knew that it would be cold, but I didn't consider keeping Sally warm. I could always use my wings and keep us both warm. That would be very uncomfortable for her, though. After all she has been through, she wouldn't want to get close to a man like that. So that leaves getting her some warm clothes. Do you have any shops here in the city that sells warm clothes? The wooden puppet shakes its head in response to my question. So that leaves a potion. Any herbalist shops then? You have to have that, at least. This time the doll nods its head yes. Excellent, so my next stop after this place is the herbalist shop. I can purchase the potion that will keep her warm. There are several different types out there. One that raises body temperature, another that makes the cold feel warm. These are all affordable and not hard to get a hold of, good thing I got plenty of gold. How has your transition to this period been? Being gone so long, you would see many great changes. I wouldn't put it past being unexpected. The lore I've read throughout my time has delved into the history and inventions that changed the whole of Ancient's world. Back in the fairies' time, they didn't have massive airships and holograms. I can't forget to mention the huge increase in powerful and easily accessible magic. The changes that Gaia has gone through have been surprising since our time. Much of the world is delved in turmoil and conflict. Now even a new monster army has risen just like the Great War. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dark Ones are brought back. I agree. From what I know, the time of the Great War was very similar to what's happening now. Some of the player cities are probably getting close to a working teleporter. However, most of the player population isn't going to be arriving for at least a year. I want to get a move on with this dungeon, so I'm going to leave you to your ruling duties. That is if you even have any. The wooden puppet begins to laugh at my observation. I don't think the tree makes any significant decisions regarding the army and economy. I think that's all left to the priestess and her generals. I give a bow in respect, and so does the wooden puppet. I turn around and exit the chamber. I see the same fairy waiting for me. She looks like she wants to ask a question but is stopped. I make my way out of the huge tree and back into the city. I check my map, and I see that Sally is at a clothes store. I have my own stop to make and I make my way to the commercial district and find the herbalist shop. The potions I'll need for Sally are in here. Chapter 146, The Frost's Wrath 2. I enter the shop and smell many unfamiliar scents. They must be exclusive to the fairies. The herbs around the shop are also new to me. I can see some that I recognize, but most are not ones I've ever seen before. Some even make me feel funny inside. I can't see the use for those in combat, though. A woman who looks a little older than me turns her head to me as I check out the new herbs. I inspect a couple times on some weird-looking mushrooms. Green-spotted mushrooms. Description: green-spotted mushrooms are only grown in the fairy kingdom. They are exotic and have many uses in today's modern society. It can bring forth pleasant dreams and soothe severe pain. Much of its military uses are kept a secret, though. So all of its benefits aren't known to the public. Rarity: epic. This seems pretty cool. I wonder what else this shop has. I feel a hand on my shoulder as I continue to look around. The woman that looked at me earlier has taken it upon herself to interrupt my inspections. A handsome man like you probably has lots of ladies after him. Are you in store for a stimulant or some sort of aphrodisiacs? This lady is overly friendly. She moves a couple of inches closer, but I don't flinch in the attempt to tease me. I don't have time to play cat and mouse with her. She sees that this is no use and backs away and puts her hands behind her back. I fold my arms and wait for her to speak. She doesn't, so I take that as my chance to ask questions. Do you have any potions for resisting heat and cold environments? I'm heading to a place with an environment with very low temperatures. She takes her hands out from behind her back and places them on her chin. I'm guessing that they wouldn't have anything for cold areas while living in such a warm part of the continent. Most of what I know about potions are the ones you use for combat. This shop doesn't look like one that provides combat potions. They are more recreational. Something I despise is drugs, and in a way, these are too. I don't have anything on the shelf right now. Most of the items sold here are for bedroom romance. I can create a potion for cold resistance if you want, but it wouldn't be for combat purposes. I can't see Sally being comfortable using a powerful erotic potion to heat her body for a dungeon. Hell, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. Something like that isn't what I'd call an appropriate partnership. She had a horrible past with men, so giving her something like that isn't happening. I take the only things in this shop are for bedroom antics. Do you know where I can find what I'm looking for? You can't be the only shop around here that sells potions and herbs. She gives a slightly disappointed look. I don't know why she's like that though. Seems weird. I don't get women sometimes. She walks behind the counter and pulls out a paper and an envelope. I'll give you a permission slip to meet with the military supplier. Civilians are still allowed access to certain potions made for combat. What you need easily falls in that category. She folds up the paper and places it in an envelope. I walk up to the counter and reach out for it. She pulls it away at the last second. I want something for helping you out with this. I don't this for all my customers, you know. These fairies are ridiculous. She has a darker pair of wings, and they contrast between purple and blue. She is very beautiful, has raven black hair and violet eyes. She must be racking in cash with sales to the male population. Well, what do you want? I got gold and not focused on a price. She brings the corner of the envelope to her mouth and munch on it very slightly. She looks up and down my body. I don't like where this is going. I'm not doing that, miss. Exchanging sexual favors for things isn't something I do. She gives a slight pout. She places the envelope back under the counter and gives me a more than seductive smile. Guess you aren't getting it from little old me, huh? If only you could pay my price. Sadly you aren't willing to do such a thing. You can always try to make it yourself, but the class you have is a combat one by your look. Not a crafting one. This would be illegal on Earth and other places in Ancient's world. I don't know the laws of the fairy kingdom, though. I doubt she would have the confidence to pull this kind of thing if she knew she could get in trouble. It seems I'm getting what I need somewhere else. I turn around and begin to make an exit, but I feel a hand grasp my arm. Am I that undesirable to you? I can give you a potion to see me how you wish. The fairies are very physical creatures, and I'm sorry if I came on too strong. When a female fairy seems someone desirable, it's hard not to go after him. I don't know why she is attracted to me. To go so far as to offer a potion so she looks like another, is scary. I sigh and turn to her. I'm not going to give her the response she wants. I didn't come to the fairy kingdom for its woman and openness towards sex. I'm here on a mission, and I intend to succeed. Having distractions isn't in the plan. Please don't take any offense to it. I do not mean to demean you in any way. She gives me a look of even more need. Being exposed to all these erotic herbs must make her a little more aggressive. She reigns in control and steps back. She turns around, grabs the envelope from under the counter, and brings it to me. Just as I think she has agreed to let me go without anything weird, she proceeds to stuff it between her boobs. Reach in and take it. That's the only way you're getting this slip for what you need. I close my eyes and shake my head. I turn around and start to leave. However, it couldn't be so easy, could it? She jumps on my back and starts to grind on me lightly. What is wrong with this girl? I try to shuffle her off, but that makes her moan. You are going to do at least something to me before I let you walk away from me. I can't let such a handsome man walk away from me without having a taste. This is a situation I never thought I would find myself in. As I'm about to try and peel her off with force, a familiar face walks in. Sally sees what's happening and looks to be kind of hurt. I can't tell. I look at her for help, and she walks over to us and proceeds to punch the fairy across the face hard. She falls off me unconscious. Thanks for the help. I'm glad you found me on your map. She would not take no for an answer. She gives me a look that seems to be jealousy. I ignore it and look at the girl unconscious on the ground. Can you get the envelope out of her breasts? She stuffed them in there, hoping I'd touch her. She gives a slight sigh and does what I ask. She hands me the envelope and looks around the shop. I can see that her face is turning slightly red from all the crazy stuff in this place. What were you doing in this place? I hope you weren't planning to use any of this stuff on me. I give her a look that says what she said is stupid. She closes her eyes. I guess not, it wouldn't kill you to show some interest, though. Am I not beautiful to you? She must be getting affected by what's in here too. I grab her hand and pull her out of the shop. She regains composure and looks at me. However, she doesn't look embarrassed in the slightest of terms. She gives me a look waiting for an answer. What do you want me to say? Yes, you are beautiful. No, I'm not interested. She gives an incredibly hurt look after I say that. She turns away from me, and I can see her shaking. I see tears fall on the ground under her. Is it because I'm dirty? Because I'm tainted? No one has treated me like you have. I was hoping for you to see me as something more, she just confessed. I don't know if she realizes it or not. I don't really know how to respond to that, but if she wants a reason I'm not interested, I can give her my single one. I walk up beside her and wait for her to stop crying. She looks at me, waiting for an answer. The reason I'm not interested in you is cause I know you think that I think you're dirty. I don't want to be with a woman who thinks that I consider her dirty and tainted, that I'm shallow. I'm not shallow, and I'm a little insulted. She gives me a shocked look. Until you come to terms with what happened to you, you will never see yourself as more than what you already do. I don't want to be with someone who has a mindset like that, thinking that about me. She opens and closes her mouth in shock. I don't see her as dirty, and I don't see her as tainted. I see a beautiful girl who has some issues she needs to work out. She gives me a tight hug out of nowhere and buries her face in my chest. I can feel wetness soaking through my shirt. I wrap my arms around her and hug her too. She obviously needs it, so I should help as I can. Thank you, Zirn. Enough of this mushy crap, we gotta another stop for potions we need. Chapter 147, The Frost's Wrath 3. I let go of Sally so we can get a move on. She holds on to me a little longer, and lets go too. I look around the commercial district and see the other shops around. The Fairy Kingdom has many items not available in other places. So it's an amazing place to visit. I'm the first player to see this place, and I've concluded that its uniqueness will bring much attention from players once they all start returning. Players will start arriving at different times, and it's going to be at least a year until most of the remaining humans from the Earth are returned to their original continents. I wonder how the Eastern Hemisphere of the old Earth is doing. The Chinese and Russians also have their cities and populations too. Anywhere with an internet connection will have to deal with the same issues that the players in old LA faced. My best guess on who returns first comes down to how many people work together. So places on old Earth that would suffer from conflict both religious and racial might take longer than ones that could put those differences aside. Bigger populations help too. The Chinese have the largest with over 6 billion in their country. I doubt they can get over the issues that the country suffers from, though. Many people hate the Chinese government, including its people. We start walking to the military barracks since that's the best place to look for the potions I need. The overly friendly fairy back in that shop didn't tell me where the place was. Why did she do that to you, Zirn? I hear a question out of nowhere, and I turn to Sally and see her downcast eyes. She has grown fond of me in the very short time we've known each other. I can't really say why, though. Yeah, I treat her differently, but that usually isn't enough for a woman to like you. I don't have an answer for her too. That female fairy and most fairies in this kingdom have higher sexual needs and senses. So that's more than likely a common occurrence. The best answer I can come up with is that it's the normal thing to do here. Since we are outsiders, we wouldn't understand the social constructs happening in this place. Be ready because it might happen to you. The fairies probably don't understand the concept of half-breed discrimination. As those words leave my mouth, she moves closer to me and grabs the bottom of my shirt. She has probably already been looked at by both males and females. This place has things happening in it I never thought I'd see. If anyone does try to force her to do anything, then I'll step in. If she gives consent, then I'll leave them be. I doubt that though, she is probably still too scared of anything like that. I don't blame her either. You'll make sure nothing happens to me, right? I don't want to go through any of that again. It looks like she needs some backup. I can help her with whatever, but when she gets her better class, I'm not going to always be there. She needs to learn that defending herself will bring much more security to her mind than if I do. That way, she won't grow dependent on me. Yeah, I'll make sure no one tries anything. We'll spend the night here in the city since it's getting later in the day. It's going to take several hours to clear the dungeon, and I don't want to start at night. I look at her, and she nods her head. We make it to the military barracks and see some shops here and there. I land my eyes on a very subtle-looking door, and my instincts tell me that's what I'm looking for. We make our way over, and I open the door. There are rows and rows of herbs and potions. I look to the man at the counter, and he sees us. This place doesn't have any of the stuff the other shop had. He waves us over, and we approach. He puts away what he was looking at and relaxes against the counter. You two don't look like the military. You need permission from another potions and herbs dealer if you are civilians. I pull out the envelope and hand it to the male fairy. Males have dragonfly wings, while females have butterfly wings. It's quite cool, in my opinion. That's why most of the military is male, with their fangs, can move much faster. Women are allowed to serve, and some even do. He opens the envelope and looks back at us. He closes his eyes and sighs. He rolls his wrist at me to hurry my order up. I need potions that can help with extreme cold and ward off cold debuffs. Price isn't a problem. He stands up and walks into the back. We wait for a few minutes in silence, and he comes back out with 5 bottles. He places them on the counter, writes the price down on a piece of paper, and slides it to me. It's 70 gold pieces for these potions, while spendy they are needed. I take out the exact amount of gold, and it comes out of my inventory with a decently sized bag. I place it on the counter, and he gives me a flabbergasted look. I need to see if it's all here before you can take it. Give me 5 minutes, and once it's confirmed, you can have the potions. I nod my head, yes, and he takes the gold into the back. I turn around and lean my back against the counter. I look at all the herbs that are only grown here in the fairy kingdom. Most of them are epic quality since they are locally grown, and you can only get them here. After we are done here, we find an inn and rest for the remainder of the evening and night. Do you want to pick the inn, Sally? You have been around town more than I have, so you have seen more than me. Don't worry about the price, and pick the one you think the most comfortable will be. She nods her head and looks down to the ground. She looks sad about something. I don't know why though, not really going to try and find out right now. She'll get over whatever problem she is having, and all I can do is help when she asks for it. I'm sorry, Zirn. I look at her confused, and she gives me an even sadder look. You have to pay and take care of everything. I can't do anything to help contribute to expenses. Being broke isn't something to be sad about. Most problems of the wealthy come from the very money they have. I look down at her, and she looks up at me. I hold a neutral face as I think of how to respond. Sometimes not saying anything is the best option. So I don't say anything. She tries to say something and is interrupted as the man comes out from the back. Everything is there. You can take the potions. Come back again if you need anything. I can see the greed in his eyes as he says that. You can count on one thing being in any thinking creature's heart. I pick up the potions, place them in my inventory, and bid farewell to the seller. We walk out of the shop and stand on the pathway. I turn towards Sally and cross my arms. Have you decided on an inn yet? I want to take a bath if possible. She nods her head with excitement and takes my hand. She pulls me while running to an inn with a very cozy look to it. I can hear laughter and cheers coming from the inside of the place. It must be one of the best places to stay. We walk inside and see the party going on. I'm not in the mood for dealing with any drunks, so I quickly approach the barkeep, and he looks at me as he cleans a glass. What can I get you, young man? We a room with personal bath and food ready to be ordered at any time. This sounds good to me. I set down 4 gold pieces, tell him I'd like 2 rooms with personal baths. He grimaces slightly. We only have 1 room available right now. It's only 2 gold pieces. I sigh and pay for it. I turn to Sally and see her blushing face. I sigh and look back to the barkeep as he hands me the key and tells me where the room is. I make my way towards the room with Sally behind me and eventually make it. It's a big room with a single big bed. It looks like I have to sleep in a chair or on the floor. I make it to the bed and sit on it. It's very soft and relaxing. I'm glad that I don't have to sleep alone in this place tonight. I hear Sally speak, and I silently nod my head. I'm going to take a bath before we decide on any sleeping arrangements. Chapter 148, The Frost's Wrath 4. I get up from the bed, walk into the bathroom, and close the door behind me. I walk up to the tub, and I see a nozzle. I turn it, and the tub instantly fills with nice hot water. Magic must make it possible to do this. The convenience of magic integrated with society is one of the best things. It really changes people's lives, and when all the little things stack up, it starts to get big. I unequip my armor and give myself a whiff. I definitely have a bad smell. I dip into the tub, and as I do, it fills with soapy bubbles that are also filled with cleaning magic. It feels good too. It relaxes all the muscles in my body. I roll my neck and shoulders as I soak in the tub, and my joints pop. I hear a knock on the door and a small voice. Can I come in too, Zirn? I'd like to take a bath as well. I sigh and ignore her, hoping she'll go away. She doesn't, though. She takes my silence as permission. I turn my head and watch her walk into the slightly steamy room. Sally, I don't know what you're planning, but I'd prefer it if you consider what you are doing. Suppose you have, then go and think about it some more. She walks up to the bubbly tub and looks down at me. She is wearing a frustrated look, and I can tell she is unhappy with my words. I don't know what is happening, but I don't want to do anything like that after only knowing each other a day. Many men would call me a pansy, gay, or a prude. You have to take into consideration what Sally has been through. She likes me, but he also has a lot of shit to unpack, and being with me sexually isn't going to help. I understand what you explained earlier. I want to show you that I don't think that way about you. She says that last part very slowly and begins to take her clothes off. She is trying to prove something that doesn't need to be proved right now. She isn't ready for this, and both of us know it. The question is, why is she even attempting it? In my thoughts, I forget the current situation, and she sinks into the tub as well. Her legs are on top of mine, and she sighs. I can feel her shaking in fear. Why are you doing this, Sally? You need way more time to work through your issues than just a couple of hours. You are already in the tub, so I won't kick you out, but this is the limit. She stops shaking and relaxes. She has an incredible fear of physicality, it seems. Saying that calmed her down. Took a lot of guts to go this far. So she might recover quicker with a good friend to support her. I'm sorry for making you worry about my state of mind, Zirn. It means a lot to me that you don't treat me like a piece of meat. I never thought I'd have someone like you in my life, thanks to my past. You don't see me as others do. It makes me feel weird inside. It makes me feel a way I've never felt before. She is falling hard. We might have something happen in the future, but as of now, there isn't going to be anything. I'm also a little scared of sex, to be honest. As a man, I get looked down upon for being a virgin at 20 years old. My sister is an excellent example of someone who makes fun of me. I just can't be that vulnerable with someone. If I'm not in absolute control of everything I can control, it terrifies me. Sexual feelings and action are something that compromises that. In a way, it's cowardice not wanting to be that vulnerable, and in many ways, I agree. Sally, I want you to know I'm not comfortable with sex either. You need to know that feelings and things related to liking someone scares me. She looks at me from across the tub and gives me an understanding look. She also tilts her head for me to continue, knowing there is more. I don't like the lack of control that comes with things like that. Without that control, I feel absolutely powerless and weak. She understands in her way. She didn't control what happened to her, and she has lived a life I couldn't survive through. She scoots through the water and comes to my side of the tub. She leans her shoulder on my shoulder and stays quiet for a few seconds. She finds my hand under the water and interlocks her fingers with mine. Sometimes surrendering to such things can help find something you didn't know you needed. Wise words from the 103-year-old half-elf. I don't know how to do that, though. No one likes to feel that way. I look her in her blue-green eyes and see her staring into mine. She starts to lean forward and slowly closes her eyes. Women sure are slick at getting close when you don't expect it. She is trying to both help me and help herself with this action. I'm not sure how I should respond. It doesn't sit well with me. Doing this doesn't feel right. I turn my head as she watches with half-lidded eyes. She stops her approach and settles back into her position. She was very open right there, and perhaps not doing anything with that will hurt her more than help. I have to watch out for my feelings and thoughts, too, though. It hurts me that the one I want doesn't want me. I get that you are rejecting me because of my issues and yours, but that doesn't make it sting any less. She speaks words from her heart, and I sympathize. Suddenly, I feel her move fast and grab my head with her hands. She leans all the way in real fast and steals a long kiss from me. She shifts her body on top of mine and straddles me. She slowly moves her lips and runs her tongue along my teeth. I almost push her off of me, but I place my hands on her back and bring her in closer with my hands. I open my mouth, and she swirls her tongue with mine. Her breasts are squishing against my chest as she does things to my mouth I never experienced before. I close my eyes, surrendering to the pleasant feeling of her technique. I feel her hands slide down my head and glide down my torso. My member is a large one, and she is heading straight for it. As a tall man with large proportions, it's an easy sign of what's under the hood. I feel her hand touch it, and I snap back to my senses. I grab her shoulders and push her away. I was a little rough in the separation, but not enough to hurt her. Geez, Sally, you were going to take it all the way, weren't you? As my blurry eyesight clears, I see her shaking body and the fearful nature of her posture. She wasn't ready for any of that, and she still tried to do something. She is either messed up more than I thought or likes me too much. I stand up from the tub and grab one of the towels. Take some time before you come out of the bathroom, get your head straight. I need time to get mine. She looks away in shame and nods her head. I exit the bathroom with a towel around my waist, and I sit on the bed. That was the first time another person ever touched me like that. I'll admit it felt great for the brief second it happened. Her hands were super soft, but she and I aren't ready for any of that. I take a deep breath and plop the rest of my body onto the bed. I place my arm over my eyes and sink into the darkness that it provides. Sally is much more complex than I thought she was. She has an extreme fear of men being physical in any way but is willing to push herself for me. While I appreciate the gesture, it still isn't healthy. Sally has been through horrors that will affect her for a very long time. Do the same stuff that causes her psychological trauma is extremely dangerous. I don't put my friends into places like that. I hear the bathroom door open and listen to her soft footsteps reach the bed. It'd before the best that I sleep on the floor or something. After that fiasco, it's not a good idea to share a bed. I'll sleep on the floor tonight. Next time we are at an inn, you get the floor. I announce the plan to Sally, and she doesn't respond. I uncover my eyes, and I look over at where she sat. I see that she is wrapped in a towel and has curled up into a ball. Her face is buried in her knees. I take one of the pillows from the top and bring it down to the ground with me. I take one of the blankets too and set everything up. I'm sorry, Zirn, I just thought. She stops talking and curls up even more. Letting her sort it in her head is a good idea. If I say anything related to what happened it might make her hurt more. So I'm going to try to get some shut-eye. Chapter 149, The Frost's Wrath v. I close my eyes as I lay on the ground and take a breath. Getting some sleep would be a nice thing right now, but I don't know if I'll actually get sleep. Sally has been acting weird for a while now, and I'm getting worried for her. She is usually more reserved, at least from what I experienced with my time with her. She has become a friend in my eyes, someone who suffered a great deal. I can relate to the suffering, just not the type she had. I hear the bed move, and she has probably settled in. Now that we have everything we need for the dungeon, her class is the only thing to get. I heard there are some good rewards for beating the boss, but I'm not interested in them. Sally should have them since she'll need the support as she gains power. Having great gear to help you grow is something many don't get to experience. Having the witness has made my journey to power so much easier. Put that together with my angel wings, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to beat me. Having that much power at one's fingertips can corrupt you. I have to make sure I don't fall into that same trap. Out of all the things that can happen during this dungeon, the most I'm worried about is Sally dying. Since she is an NPC, she'll permanently die, unlike me. So taking care of the deadly creatures and encounters is my job. Since her class is so weak, she won't be able to do any meaningful damage. The potions should keep her from freezing to death, which is a plus. I won't need them since my stats are so high. In reality, my stats make me around level 200, but since I don't have a mana aura yet, my health is pitiful. I don't know how much health I'll be getting with even 1% control, but it will be millions. It's quality that determines things in Ancient's world. I should get into the habit of calling this place Gaia instead. Ancient's world is a foregone conclusion of the scam that was the game. Talk about taking a risk. JNX Incorporated are the original creators of this problem. I may have sealed the fate of everyone with my choices, but it wouldn't have led to that if JNX never created such a monster. All those billions of people dead, and there is no way to bring them back. People are going to want blood from JNX, and I don't blame them. If the truth about me ever got out, people would want my blood too. Are you still awake, Zirn? I suddenly hear Sally ask me a question. I don't answer her and try to make it seem I'm asleep. I hear her shuffle across the bed and to the side I'm sleeping by. I hear her stop and stay quiet. She is probably staring at me. I know you're awake, I sigh and open my eyes. Her blue-green eyes meet my hazel. She stares quietly as I wait for her to continue. How so many people can treat her like that is beyond me. What do you want, Sally? I'd like to get some sleep before we head into the dungeon. She stays quiet and stares at me. You don't have to worry about what happened in the bathroom. Things like that happen, and sometimes they can't be controlled. I firmly believe that too. Hormones can do a lot to a person's mind. She might have been thinking along some lines that there is something between us. We both have too many problems to consider anything like that. I'm not sorry that I did it. I give her a shocked and surprised look. I would never have expected those words to come out of her mouth. How I feel about you and what I went through in the past are confusing to me. I won't let the things that happened to me affect what I can have with you. I'm speechless, to say the least. She has a giant blush as she realizes what she said. She squeals lightly and rolls out of view. I guess that's a step in the right direction. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, so I can't say it with confidence if it is. I'm surprised, Sally. I'm learning more and more about you every time we are together. I didn't expect you to be so brave and ready for something like that after everything you've been through. You're one of the bravest girls I've ever met. It's true too. Confidence is in short supply anywhere, and it's very impressive that she is trying so hard to seem better. Time is what is needed for her to heal fully. I'm not gullible to believe that she is right now. I know better than that, and so should other people. Lots say one thing and do another. The same can be said for actions. She can kiss me and try to touch me, but at the same struggle internally a great deal at the action. All the while trying to seem comfortable. It's a dangerous game, and that is something everyone should be aware of. Damage can run deeper than anyone thought possible. I relax and close my eyes again, thinking that it's finally over. I fall into a deep sleep and dream of nothings. After a full night of rest, I can see the brightness of the sun beaming through my eyelids. I feel something weight on my body too. I crack open my eyes and look down. Sally is clinging to my torso, all the while covered by a blanket. It seems she snuck out of bed and joined me on the ground. I should have expected it too. I lean up, and as I do, the blanket falls off her, and that's when I realize she is fully nude. I forgot that I also went to bed in nothing other than my towel and blanket. I slide her off me and cover her with the blanket, so I don't see any more than I already have. I quickly equip my gear, so I'm no longer nude either. I turn towards the window and walk to it. The sun is just rising over the horizon, and the start of today is afoot. I walk over to the bedroom door and leave the room. I head downstairs and see all the passed out patrons and workers. I walk up to the bar and notice it's a different person today. I'd like your highest protein meal, please. A side of juice would be nice, doesn't matter what kind. I lay down a gold piece, overpaying the innkeep eagerly accepts. He walks into the back, and I can hear what sounds like meat being thrown on a grill of some sort. One of the best sounds to me. My mouth starts to water at the idea of having something so delicious. I hear footsteps walk from the hall I just came from, and Sally soon joins me. She takes a seat next to me and scoots closer till our shoulders touch. I ignore her attempt and focus on the smell coming from the kitchen. You could have woken me up too, you know. The bed was too big for me, so I joined you on the floor. I hope that okay, she says that last part with a coy sound laced in her words. I turn to her and see her innocent smiling face. Don't make a habit of doing that. As confident as you sound right now, I know better. She slowly looks away and looks down at her fingers. She starts to twirl them with each other. Her smile never disappears, though. It's funny cause after she said she was sorry she did it, she ended up saying she wasn't sorry. Look, Sally, it's okay not to want to be alone like that. Make sure that you ask before you join, though. Have the common courtesy of that at least. She gives a jubilant smile and gives me a big hug. In truth, I just gave her permission to keep doing it. I'm an idiot and should have worded it better. If I take it back now, it'd probably hurt her, so I guess it's too late. Thanks, Zirn. Even if you don't want to be anything more than friends right now, I'm determined to prove it to you otherwise. I never had someone say that to me before. It's both scary and nice to hear, but I'm going to be responsible for this dilemma. She'll eventually give up on the idea if I shut her down enough times, so no more of what happened last night and this morning allowed. Anytime the opportunity arises, I'll stop it before she can take advantage of it. My thoughts are interrupted as a big steak, and a glass of apple juice is put in front of me. I start to dig in, and I hear Sally laugh. I turn and see a cunning look on her face. The way to your heart is with food. That's good to know. Oh. That isn't a good sign. Chapter 150, The Frost's Wrath 6. I finish my food and drink the apple juice. It's nice to have real food instead of meat cooked over a campfire. Sally has given me space and is being quiet after the food comment. Just so you know, Zirn. I understand what you mean, and I'll definitely take time to figure out my mess before I try anything with you again. Just know that I care about you a lot, and I'm really happy I met you. I'm glad she will take my advice and work the issues she has out. I don't have to worry about what happened last night happening again. She should eat some food, too, before we head to the dangerous dungeon. Innkeeper, get this girl some food too. The same that I had. I'd also like a refill on apple juice. The man nods his head and walks into the kitchen out of view. Having energy to burn is going to be very important. We could be in there for hours and not have any way out. The puzzle could take forever to solve, and the potions will run out eventually. A problem that will depend on my own ingenuity and thinking. I can't steal the answer from someone else's forum post or work. Thinking about it. It's extremely pathetic. The innkeeper comes back after a few minutes, lays a plate of food in front of Sally, and places 2 glasses of apple juice. I thankfully nod my head, and the man reciprocates. I watch as Sally devours her plate of food at the same speed I did. After she is done eating, it's time we gotta move on to that dungeon. Once she gets that legacy class, we are heading straight to the holy city for my mana aura. After we are done with mine, we'll do hers, and then I'll see if she'll want to continue with me to Belvia. How do you suppose we'll get to the class? I wouldn't think it'd be as simple as a complex puzzle. She is right too. After solving the puzzle, the monsters will be tough even for me. I wait for her to finish eating as I enjoy the extra glass of apple juice. She might not want to continue traveling with me to Belvia. Once she has great power, I wouldn't put it past her taking revenge on the Elven Kingdom. Let me worry about things like that, Sally. All you need to do is back me up however you can. I could probably handle everything alone, but who knows if anything changed with the dungeon since everyone has arrived in Ancient's world. Worldwide announcement: the monster forces have begun an assault on the Kingdom of Terra. The Alliance armies are quickly on the move to intercept the conflict. If any player wishes to participate, then a new marker will be added to your map. I suddenly hear a system announcement about the current war. The monsters are starting their attacks up again, and more conflict will start to spark from the war. Sally's head pops up as she hears the announcement from the church. Will you help? I can wait a little while before we take on the dungeon. I check my map, and it's too far right now. Besides, I can't fight all the battles. The forces of humanity have to fight for themselves too. I could really help, but then everyone will always turn to me when something like this needs to be done. It's extremely inconvenient for me if I have such things getting in my way. That sounds and feels extremely selfish, but it's not my job to defend every country from an invasion of monsters. That's what the armies are for, and I'm not going to disrupt the flow like that. I'm not, Sally. If I solved everyone's problems, then a bad pattern would emerge. When so many are looking for you, it's dangerous to do such things. It's not something she'll understand. As a half-angel, my presence in this world is very important to many people. I want to keep a distance for as long as I can. The only reason I fought that one monster horde on the borders of Perla was because it was close. So you are just going to leave them to die? She looks at me with disappointment. I scoff and focus on other things. You are someone who has the power to change things, why won't you? She whispers into my ears, so no one hears. It's that saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I hate that saying. She will have much power after she gets her class. If she wants to run around playing hero, I'm not going to stop her. Because I have a choice to Sally. If I don't want to fight and run around doing things for people, I shouldn't have to. Just because of the blood in my veins doesn't mean I have to be the hero coming to their rescue. I'm allowed to make any decisions. My actions aren't bound to humanity's fate. She looks at me with a downcast face. She won't agree with my words simply because she isn't in the same position. To some, it's cruel to say and do, but I have free will. If I don't want to help someone or something, I don't have to. I'm sorry I thought that, Zirn. It isn't fair that people would expect that from you. I'll think before I say anything next time. It's not her fault she doesn't understand, and it's only going to become harder for her to see the true face of Zirn. I might ruin the expectation she has of me, but those are her expectations. Mine is far simpler. Albeit one-dimensional, it's an easy thing to focus on. You don't have to apologize, Sally. You'll learn about me more as we travel together. My personality is very different from most people. I know my priorities, and nothing will stop me from achieving my goals. Sally is done with her food, and everything is set for the dungeon. Let's get a move on. It's time to get you a very powerful class. I stand up from the bar and make my way towards the door. Sally follows behind me. I know for a fact that the dungeon is going to be freezing and filled with tough monsters, but most of them will be taken apart by the witness easily. Throw my wings into the mix, and you got yourself a walking talking blender. I should check my levels and see where I am before I start gaining more levels. I pull up my player interface and look at my skills and my current pile of unused stat points. Slayer, Zirn, LVL .81. EXP, 95/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, plus 3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 Endurance, 2045 Dexterity, 2125 Speed, 2240 Focus, 13545. Health, 16,560/16,560 Mana, 135450/135450. Stat points, 570 Armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .9325/900 Protected by Heaven LVL .9225/900/LVL .224600/13000 Parry LVL .380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight. I'm already past level 80, and I'll be getting a sizable amount of EXP from this dungeon. I won't be getting as much as I did when I had all those EXP bonuses when I fought that horde of monsters, but it's still going to be a lot. I have 570 unused stat points and I could put them into anything I wanted. The more mana I have, the easier it'll be for me to learn to control my mana aura. The bigger the pool is, the bigger the margin for error is, which helps in development. You can poison yourself on accident and ruin any future your player has. It happened to millions of players in the past. I pour my 570 stat points into my focus stat, raising my mana to bigger numbers. Every bit counts, and now that new number looks a little different. Slayer, Zirn, LVL .81. EXP, 95/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, hidden, plus 3 more. Stats. Strength, 2095 Endurance, 2045 Dexterity, 2125 Speed, 2240 Focus, 14660. Health, 16,560/16,560 Mana, 146600/146600. Stat points, 0 Armor rating, 500. Inventory. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .9325/900 Protected by Heaven LVL .9225/900/LVL .224600/13000 Parry LVL .380/300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight. I got a little over 10k mana from that. It's a great improvement to my future strength too. Now it's time to focus on the dungeon. Once we get out of the city, it'll be a quick flight to the location. I'm actually pretty excited to see the Frost's Wrath in action. It's an infamous class. Many believed that it should have been on the same grade as Legendary, but it wasn't because of its way of acquisition. It's going to nice to have a strong partner too. I hope Sally is as excited as I am.